All right. We are live on Facebook for the Alternative Breaks meet and greet. We may have a couple people joining us on the Zoom chat, which is awesome. And then we've got other people watching us on our Facebook page. But I'm going to let each of you guys introduce yourselves and talk about your experience with alternative breaks, what you currently do with alternative breaks, why you got involved, and that kind of stuff. Charlie, you want to start?
Yeah, totally. So, hey everybody, my name is Charlie Gordon. I'm a senior majoring in communication studies from Russellville, Alabama. This is my second year with Alternative Breaks. I'm also serving as one of our site leaders, which is a super big honor for me. Last year, I was so blessed to be selected to attend the winter break trip to Maryville, Tennessee, which is a super awesome experience. We did a lot of work with environmentalism and also Native American education and awareness. And so it was a super awesome opportunity to get out of my comfort shell, spend a weekend away from the university and really just learn a lot about myself and learn a lot about students from all across the university who I had never met before. So it's such an honor to be a part of this program and to actually get to lead a trip next year. So I'm so excited.
All right, Nikki, how about you?
Yeah, my name is Nikki Matthews, and I'm currently serving as the graduate assistant for Alternative Breaks. So my AB journey began, it was summer 2017, I think, and I was a SOAR counselor, and my SOAR partner was Marissa Deal, and she was leading a trip to Haiti. And so she kind of talked me into applying, and then I applied, and the rest is history. So I've been to Haiti and Guatemala. Those are really two great experiences. Also, this past February, I went to Fairhope, Alabama, and served there. So it was very exciting. Love AB, favorite thing here at UNA. So.
And we're glad that you're part of AB, Nikki, because you're not ever allowed to leave. Julia, how about you?
So my name is Julia Idell, and I am a mass communications with public relations major from Florence, Alabama, and I currently serve as the public relations chair, which is really fun, and I love it. I love AB, and I actually found out about Alternative Breaks through Marissa Dill as well. She's my former sorority sister, and so she came and talked to us at a new members meeting and helped get me involved. And my first trip was to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, where we went and served Cherokee Nation, and it was really neat to get to learn about their culture and to get to help serve them in different aspects. And then I was also a former site leader, which unfortunately we did not get to go due to COVID, but it was still really neat to get to still work with the programs there and learn more about them and get to meet some of other neat people who love to serve.
Shout out Marissa Deal for that recruitment effort. Great. And I'm Bethany Green. I'm the advisor for the Alternative Breaks program. I've been part of it for going on 8 years now. So I've gotten to see the program grow in different ways and meet awesome people like the three of you. We're excited. This year has been the first year that we've really gotten to have an exec team. We've got a great site leader team. And so we have a lot of people behind the scenes working to make sure that we can offer this experience despite the pandemic and any other obstacles that are thrown our way. So these three are super helpful in kind of navigating that. But I'll start real quick with what the Alternative Break program actually is. We take university breaks like spring break and winter break, and we go on service trips. Each trip is focused on a specific social topic, and we spend the time before the trip in pre-trip meetings. Our biggest thing is we don't want anyone to go into these trips blind, but also we want to hit the high notes before we actually get there so that we can really focus on the service that we're going to be doing as soon as we arrive. So we do pre-trip meetings, and we cover education, orientation, training. We incorporate reflection during the actual trip itself. And that part really helps us process what we're doing and why we're doing it. And the biggest goal overall is to encourage everyone to be active citizens, which is it's a lifestyle shift where, you know, others in the community come at the at top priority to make sure that we're supporting one another, we're looking out for one another, whether that be people, animals, the environment, and so forth. And it can be something as small as you throw the plastic bottle in a recycling bin every day, if that's not something you've always done, or it could be something bigger than that, where you're leading protests, you're leading marches, you're a true activist. And so service comes in many forms, and we love the Alternative Break program because we get to kind of showcase that a little bit. And so we do go to other locations outside of the Shoals area typically, because that gets us out of our comfort zone. If you think about it, it's really hard to see the things that are happening around us when that is where we're comfortable and that's what we're used to. And so we take a step away from that so that we can really focus on those social topics and issues that we're learning about and focusing on, and figure out how, when we return back to our busy schedules, we can continue to keep serving. And so some of our experiences are week long, some of them are weekend. This year, we'll talk about in a little bit, it's likely going to be a little different thanks to the pandemic. But yeah, that's the program in a nutshell. All of our breaks are student led. So Charlie is one of our current site leaders leading a trip for this year. Nikki and Julia both have been site leaders before. And they're the ones that are deciding what topics we're focusing on, where we're going, and really kind of lead that charge. There's a scholarship attached to that. Not a huge one, but it's something. And a discount on the overall site fee. So you do have to have AB experience to be a site leader. But the good part of that is it prepares you for that role. And I think for me, I think it's a really unique leadership opportunity at UNA. So that is an option if anyone is ever interested in that. Let's move on. So these questions that we're answering tonight have been submitted by people. They're usually typical questions that we get on the regular. And so we're going to try to answer these in advance to give you some more information about the AB program. Nikki, I'm going to let you take this next one. What are social topics?
So in my own words, I would think that social topics are problems, not necessarily they don't always have to be problems, but problems that affect a large majority of people. And it's things that we want to work towards changing and improving. So some of the ones that we have focused on in our past AB trips, Native American issues and education, coastal cleanup, poverty, community development, and all sorts of things like that. That's what we want our trips to be focused on. We don't want to go in without an idea of what we will be doing and what we're going to be focusing on. But like I said, not all of these social topics have to be negative. A lot of them are things that we can look at in a positive connotation. So just keep that in mind, especially when our site leaders do pick their trips in their social topics. We want to be sure to not always look at it in like a negative connotation, because there are positive connotations to do with that too.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nikki. Hey, Charlie, since you are a site leader for this year, I'm actually going to let you answer this next one. What are the travel plans
Yes.
for 2020, 2021?
Yes. So thanks to the lovely pandemic, we have decided to push our trips to 2021 to the summer, which is a super awesome opportunity to really engage with the university outside of the normal academic year. And so really get to continue that journey into the summer, which I'm super excited about just because it's going to provide more opportunities for planning and more implementation. Speaking of the social topics, mine's actually on youth development. And so we're actually going to be able to utilize summer breaks where kids are going to be out of schools. We're going to be able to partner with a lot more youth development organizations. So I'm super excited about that. And what's super great with it being the full summer is that we as site leaders have the opportunity to choose when we want to take our trip. So some trips may go in May, some trips may go in July. And so it's going to be able to provide more opportunities where participants may not can go on a May trip, but they can go on a June trip or a July trip. So it provides a lot more options, which I'm super excited about. And I mean, you get to spend your summer vacation doing service, which is so, so awesome. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if any of our site leaders happen to not be able to push their break into the summer, we're going to look at a local option that we can still maintain CDC guidelines and ADPH guidelines and UNA guidelines and everybody else's guidelines. And so we can either do something local, or we actually can look at a virtual option as well. It has been done. And it has been successful, but we will be launching all of those opportunities in January of 2021. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. All right, Julia, next question. Does it cost anything to participate in alternative breaks?
It does cost because you have site fees and that type of things. But one thing that I love about alternative breaks is there are a ton of fundraising options. And then we have some really awesome alumni who like to help. If you send out letters, a lot of people are really happy to help you donate. And if you go out and just say, hey, like, my name is Julia Rydell. I'm going to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and serve the Cherokee Nation community. Here's what we're doing. You'll be really surprised at how many people want to help you and are really excited and want to help you to be able to serve other people. And so we do have payment plan options as well that a lot of people really use, and it's really good to work with, and it's not as scary as hard as people think it is.
Yeah, alternative break mascot. One of the things we do try to tell our students that want to participate in alternative breaks is don't let money be the reason you don't go. We have done lots and lots and lots of fundraising before, and we're prepared to help you out as much as possible. Nikki, I'm going to send this next one to you. How would somebody sign up for an alternative break?
Okay, so it's super easy. All you really have to do is go to una.edu/AB and you'll see apply here. And then you can just apply. But those applications won't be open until next semester, like Bethany was saying, until we get the final say on whether or not we will be able to travel or not. But it's super easy. We'll PR it as much as we can. It'll be on Facebook and Instagram and in the digest. It'll be everywhere. So it's super easy to apply. The application is not really long. So it's super fun. I encourage everyone to apply if we can have our trips. Fingers crossed that we can.
All right. And one of the questions we've been asked before is where have we traveled to? Because where we really want the social topics to be the reason you sign up, we understand that that's probably not always the case. So we have kept our experiences as close as Huntsville. And even the Shoals community, but we've also gone as far as Honduras and Haiti. We've had a group go to the Dominican Republic before. Nikki, your group went to Guatemala. But one of the things I think that where international travel is awesome and great and fun, and it's a great experience, I think one of the biggest things that has stood out to me in kind of witnessing the experiences that happen with alternative breaks is that we have so much of a diverse culture here in the United States. And so you don't have to go to a different country to see poverty. You don't have to go to a different country to get a unique experience. We literally can walk in our backyard. And so I think one of the coolest breaks that I've been on, and I'm going to actually ask you guys, which some of you only have one experience, maybe share something that stood out on your trip. But one of the coolest breaks that I went on was Harlan, Kentucky. And we went for a weekend, and the focus was animal rescue and the community of Harlan has been impacted because it's a mining community. Mining is not as big as it has been. And so there is a large amount of drug use in that community. And so there's also theft. It is a poor community and there's quite a bit of theft. And so to protect their homes so people aren't stealing things, a lot of individuals, not all of them, but a lot of individuals are getting dogs. But Harlan can get very cold because it is in the Appalachian Mountains. And so one of the things that we got to do was take recycled board. Do you guys know like the cork boards that, not cork, but the boards at gas stations that have like the Coca-Cola advertisements and things like that on them? So we got those from gas stations that they weren't using anymore, and we got pallets and we built dog houses. Because I didn't think anything about like the structure of a dog house and the importance of it, but it was like, make sure the door is on one side so the dog can get behind a closed in section. Make sure the roof comes further over so if it rains, it's not getting inside of the dog. Like, it's just things I didn't think of. And so we built these dog houses and then just walked around neighborhoods and distributed them. If we saw a home that didn't have a dog house there, but they had a pet, we would drop off the dog house and just say, hey, we made this, we want these animals to stay safe and warm, especially in the cold months. So we got to interact with quite a bit of people and kind of hear their stories. And we got to experience a lot of the Appalachian culture at a local elementary school that they now have turned into basically a community center, where there's dancing and there's music and there's everything you can possibly think of. But that was probably one of the most enriching experiences that I've had. And it was a weekend and it was in Kentucky, and who knew? So that was mine. I'm going to let Charlie, how about you go next?
Yeah, so mine was actually very similar to yours, Bethany. I also went on a weekend trip over in February, just one state away in Tennessee, in Maryville, which is about an hour south of Gatlinburg. I did not even know that I had driven through that town so many times on the way up to the mountains, and it was so cool just to see, similar to like what you're talking about, how you can walk right into your backyard, walk one step away and see poverty. Maryville is a town very close to the Cherokee Indian reservation, and they have a lot of reservation immigrants and in and out of the reservation a lot, and so they have a very mixed culture of Native American and then the kind of evolved white America, and so they have a lot of cultural differences. And so we were actually able to do a lot of work with the reservation of how life is outside the reservation versus life inside the reservation, and I had never really experienced or understood what life inside the reservation is. They have their own tribal laws, they have their own community cultural norms, and then the minute they step outside the reservation, they're subjected to what we view as society. And so it's a very hard division for them, because once you cross over, it's very hard to go back both ways. And so just really understanding what it means to be part of a culture and what it means for children who are born on the reservation who have dual citizenship, and many of them struggle with their cultural identity of, am I part of the reservation or am I part of America? And so just interacting with those families and that community was such an amazing honor and a very eye-opening experience for me. And the city of Maryville also has a major use of recreational drugs, and many of them happen in those rural areas, and most of them they'll just have meth labs and then just leave them out in the open. And so it's very dangerous to the environment. And so we did a lot of work actually cleaning up recreational drug use. And so I actually had never seen what some drugs looked like in real life, but we actually saw them and were taught the effective ways of how we can dispose of them and how we can actually clean up an environment that is so destroyed by drug use. So, and that's only one state away in Tennessee. So I'm a huge advocate of the weekend break because it's closer, so you may not have to go 12 hours away, and it's a great stepping stone into the AB program. So I'm a huge fan of the weekend trip, and I hope I get to go on one on top of my week-long trip that I'm planning as well.
Nikki?
Yeah, so I've been on 2 international trips and 1 weekend trip. I did enjoy my weekend trip. It was a lot of fun. Got to clean up the beaches and stuff. But I think my favorite trip was when I went to Dessaab, Haiti. That place will always have my heart. Those people will always have my heart. I think my favorite part of going to Haiti was um, going to their church service. I had no idea what they were saying, but I could feel the energy in the room, and it was like something I've never felt before. Even like going to church here in Tennessee, I never felt that sort of energy and love, and I don't know what it was. What was in the room, I have no idea, but that was probably my favorite part. And honestly, you didn't even have to be religious to feel that energy. It was just the love that they were showing to each other and the love that they were showing to us. They were like directly talking to us and making sure that we understood what was going on. So that had to be my top AB moment, just being in that community. It was just wonderful.
Julia?
So mine was kind of similar to Charlie's, being in Cherokee Nation, which is really, really neat. I was honestly blown away because I'd never um, experienced anything like that before. I'm from small town Alabama, and I've traveled around here, but not really to other cultures and that type of thing. And so it was really neat for me to see that, like y'all were saying, like in our own backyard, there's this whole other culture that they had like a whole other language and different things that they were talking about. Like we didn't know what they were talking about, but they knew, and they were so excited. And we were going and helping with the early childhood, which was where younger children, and they were saying their colors and their language and that type of thing. And they were actually teaching it to us, like showing us the different things, and so it was really neat because like when you go on trips you expect to like help other people, but really like they help you in a whole nother way by, it could be simple as something as simple as teaching you their language, or just showing you their culture and like letting you in with open arms. And it was just really neat to see their point of view, and it really makes you appreciate what you have.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I think we do go surf, but I think part of it is also helping us understand what service looks like for us and how we can continue that because we aren't staying in that community forever. And so there's a lot of discussion around, how do I keep the momentum when I get home, and when the schedule gets crazy, um, and and it can be simple. And but yeah, I think that that's a great point. Is that we are just as impacted on a personal level as we are hopefully making an impact on that community too. Um, so a couple last questions that people had, and there have been some great comments on the live feed on Facebook. Hello, Gigi. And Mulaney, who has been a site leader before with the program. And there were a couple of other people, and I'm sorry if I missed you, but um, some of the remaining questions: where can I find alternative break information? The best place, and we'll put it in the comments of the live feed, is going to be the Alternative Break website. So una.edu/AB, simple as that. We'll take you directly to the AB website. We have an events calendar there that I do want to encourage everybody to look into. Really excited about a couple of our workshops that we have coming up this semester, because this month, next month, and in November, Breakaway, which is our kind of umbrella organization that houses, I say house, alternative break programs. They're kind of like our resource. They're going to be facilitating 3 different workshops for us this semester. This month, we're going to be talking about identity-based activism, and that is going to be next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after at 4 o'clock. And you can register for that online. October's, we're going to talk about resisting performative allyship. And then November, we're going to talk about leading the front lines and tools for young leaders. And so those are all available to register for if you're interested in joining in that conversation. They will be held on Zoom. And we will not be live streaming those workshops. So those will all be within Zoom. So please join us for that if anybody is interested. And another thing I'm excited about is we are bringing back some Alternative Break alumni this semester to talk about their experience, but also what they're doing on a social justice level now. This month we have Kiana Mitchell joining us, and I'm really excited. Kiana was a site leader for us. She did some leadership things with Breakaway, and she's really active these days in a variety of ways. I don't want to share too much about her story. I'll let her do that. But I hope that everyone can join in that conversation as well. We will live stream those conversations, but we'll also encourage you guys to join us within the Zoom chat so that you can directly ask Kiana questions too. And then we'll have an alumni for October and an alumni for November as well. So check in for that. And then we've got a couple of other great things going on. We're partnering with the Center for Social Inclusion on a few events that I'm really excited about. And we're making a true effort at really trying to get students registered to vote this year because you may not realize, but civic engagement is also part of service. And so that is one small thing that you can do that makes a big impact. And so look for those events as they are happening. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, you can find us on Instagram. Our handle is at Alternative Breaks, right?
It's
No.
alternative_breaks.
Neither was an underscore somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Alternative_breaks. And then you can check out the UNA Community Service and Outreach Facebook page whenever you want. But also our contact information is on the website too. And so I know any of us would be happy to answer your questions at any time. So yeah, please feel free to ask all you want, and we hope that you decide to get involved. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add? All right, thanks everybody. Have a good night.